The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnest Speaking podcast coming to you on March 8th, 2022. How you guys doing? It's been a little while since we did a little solo pod here. But yeah, I'm glad to be back in the saddle again. No video today for this one. But of course, you can subscribe to this podcast on any podcast catcher, such as, did I say catcher or catcher? Such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, anywhere we can find Earnest Speaking podcast. Again, I also shout out to my cousin Ellis, Dr. Earnest Christian, who celebrating his I think it's his 36th birthday today. Shout out to Dr. Earnest Christian, my cousin, cardiologist here in Martin County, here in somewhat South Florida still. I guess Martin County is considered South Florida, right? Yeah. So anyway, this is going to be our third installment of the something I started last summer, and I want to start doing seasonally, every couple months. We call it Fake Mailbag, Real Answers. Basically, questions that you guys should be asking me. But I'm not ready waiting for you guys to ask me, so I'm going to go ahead and just answer the question myself. So, take different topics across the landscape of politics or sports, especially sports, pop culture, maybe just kind of ramble with it a little bit. I take about 10 questions. I think I have about 10 different mailbags here. So anyway, before we get started too, also, I think today I don't necessarily partake in these things necessarily either. These I don't know if these days are made up. Some of these days, like you have the National Sons Day and National this day, and I guess today is International Women's Day. Of course, I'm gonna always honor our women. Especially ones in my life. My wife Lauren, of course. So my rock. My mom, Maria. And then of course my sisters and all my in-laws and cousin-in-laws and all my friends, and obviously my grandmother is still alive. My grandmother, my dad's side rather, still alive. So honor her as well too, Iris. And all the ladies in my life, all my friends. We honor you. We appreciate you. I've always said for years that God's greatest creature, most beautiful creature is females, is women. So I know I can't speak for everybody, but I know for myself, I definitely value you guys. And I know your worth, obviously, and continue to be amazing, because, they always say that this is the man's world, and it's not. It's nothing without a woman in it, so it doesn't matter. I don't want to be in a man's world. I want to be in a world where we can all be equal and all be on the same page and all be, appreciating each other, in a way where it's, we're all human. We're all, So, again, shout out, to all the women out there. Love you. Especially. So, anyway, let's get started with the Fake Mailbag, Real Answers. This should go about 30-something minutes. We'll see. And let's get here. Dear EJ, who won the Russell Wilson trade today? Now, you guys may have actually saw or heard the emergency podcast, rapid reaction podcast I just dropped on this feed earlier today. It was about a 3-minute podcast. It is reacting to in the moment when the news broke about Russell Wilson getting traded to the Denver Broncos in exchange for Drew Lock. I think it was 2 firsts, I think a 3rd rounder, everything also too, and then also a couple other pieces there. Doesn't matter. Now, we obviously was speculating all year long about Russell Wilson's future, whether or not he traded or not. And the thing was, I've always said it was a 3-prong answer. It's whether or not Russell Wilson leaves, is whether or not Pete Carroll leaves, or the general manager, I think is John Schneider, leaves as well too. And we were, after the season ended, the Seahawks missed the playoffs this year. I think it's only the 3rd time in the 10 years he was there they missed the playoffs under his watch. So Russell Wilson's been a winner, nothing but a winner in Seattle. So the speculation, well, we don't know what happens. Does Pete Carroll stay? Does he go? Does Russell Wilson stay? Does he go? We don't know. GM stays? Go? We don't know. And then it's been silence in Seattle since the day the season ended. I thought maybe a week or so we'll see what happens. Maybe Pete Carroll says retire. We're now almost 2 months since the season ended and nothing's happened? Zero. Nothing. Everything's quiet. No speculation. Now, you can take that anyway. You can say that, well, does that mean Seattle got things worked out between the parties? Is there things going on in the underlings world of, whether or not Russell Wilson get traded? Some of the magnitude. And then, out of nowhere, we get the news this morning first about Aaron Rodgers deciding to stay in Green Bay, gets a new deal, 4 years for $20 million. Okay, that dropped today. And that lasted, an hour? Because literally within the hour, we get the bombshell about Russell Wilson getting traded to Denver. To me, it's simple. Denver wins because Denver already had a good roster, and Denver's literally a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. And I said this coming into the offseason, that if Denver gets Russell Wilson, they get a Aaron Rodgers, if they get a good to great quarterback, they are in the mix. This team won 7-8 games last year with Teddy Bridgewater, who I do like, but he's not the answer, and Drew Lock. Okay, this team's literally a quarterback away from being in the mix. Denver won this trade in a heartbeat. Did Seattle get a nice haul back? Yes, they did, but I don't care about draft picks. At the end of the day, draft picks are just picks. Like, they're just numbers. Until I see the player develop, draft picks won't mean nothing to me until 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Okay? So they're nothing to me at this point. I'm not saying they don't matter, especially in the NFL, they don't matter, but I think we all overvalue draft picks, especially when it comes to, when we put it against trading a first ballot Hall of Famer who's still in his prime, Russell Wilson has more value in the next 2, 3, 4 years than these draft picks. Russell Wilson in Seattle puts you at 8 to 10 wins a year no matter what. Okay? You are a playoff. You're a guaranteed playoff team with Russell Wilson to hell in Seattle. Now, you're in the cellar. You're in the cellar again. And again, like I said, we'll see what happens. Seattle's gotten spoiled the last 10 years. Prior to Russell Wilson being there, they made the playoffs 5. I think they had 5 winning seasons, so they made the playoffs 5 times in their entire existence, and they made the playoffs I think 7, 8 times in under Russell Wilson. So I don't know. My bottom line is this: Denver won that trade, and furthermore, and I said this on the reaction pod earlier today. Look at the AFC West. Oh my God, the AFC is deep as it is. Now the AFC West. We now have a division where Derek Carr, Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, is the worst quarterback in the division. And that's not an insult. It's a record. You know why? Because all 4 of those quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and now Derek Carr, those are 4 of the top 10 to 12 best quarterbacks in football right now. It's going to be a fun year in the AFC West. It's going to be a fun year. Like I said, Denver, like I said, I'm not saying that they're the Super Bowl favorites, but are they in the conversation? Absolutely. You put a guy like Russell Wilson on a team that was already solid and just needed a quarterback, you're in the mix. You're in the mix. Okay? So, good luck AFC West. Good luck to AFC. I don't know. It's going to be a sick year. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Seattle fans, got spoiled. Some of the ones that they want to get rid of Russell Wilson. Some ones I'm friends with, especially too, blaming Sierra and all this stuff. It's ridiculous. You're going to see now. You're going to see. You're going to miss them. You're going to miss them. Because, again, you have all these draft picks, and they're just numbers, dude. They're just numbers. You're putting it up against a guy, a proven commodity, who's still a top 5, 6 quarterback in the league. They don't grow on trees, dude. They don't grow on trees, and you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn. So, next thing here, dear EJ, the Lakers struggles. Your thoughts about it and everything around it. Yeah. This is bad. And the thing is, we can be fair a little bit too. Also, we can have a 2-pronged answer here. They haven't had a chemistry because if LeBron's not hurt, then AD's hurt. If AD's not hurt, LeBron is hurt, or Russell is sometime. I don't want to sit here and criticize Russell Westbrook, but it's a bad fit. It's a bad fit. And it's a shame too because LeBron James has had one of his best individual seasons we've ever seen in his 18 years in the league. And yet, because of all the losing they're doing this year, they're now what? I think 6 games under 500 now. I know they beat Golden State on Saturday, but they lost to San Antonio last night without LeBron. You know, they're not going to get out of the play-in because I think right now they're like 6 or 7 back in the play-in, 8 back in the play of the 6th seed, and there's 14 games to go before the year ends. So they are going to be, if they make the playoffs, they'll be through the play-in, and anything's possible there. Of course, one game sample, possibly. First off, look, the rumors are true. The rumors are probably going to end up working out where Russell Westbrook won't be there next year. Okay, there's no interest in them working together beyond this year. Whether he wants him not want to come back, and obviously the teams when they rid of him. His trade, he'll have some value next year to another team because next year will be his final year on the contract. This is what I warned years ago. I didn't think this would be this bad, but I warned this years ago about Westbrook that when he falls off, it's going to be a hard splat. And I love the guy. I think he plays hard. I think he's a guy that brings it every night. You can't say the guy doesn't put in effort. The guy does put in effort when it comes to play basketball. Without question. But it's the fit. It's the fit. And his play is it's awful. It's awful. I know the numbers are comparable to the last couple of years. But and the thing is, LeBron gets some blame here too. I'm not going to blame all LeBron, but LeBron, he signed off on this. LeBron won a Westbrook here, and I have to give Lakers brass credit here. LeBron playing the passive aggressive thing now. He's kind of starting to flirt with Cleveland again. I come back to Cleveland in a year or two and have my son there. Maybe I don't know. And the Lakers are saying, listen, you were part of this mess. You fix it. I agree with Jeannie Buss and company. I do. You sign up on this. Fix it. And I don't. There's not a thing really you can do about this now. The problem is there. You ride it out. But yeah, I don't expect Westbrook to be back next year because and I think with him having 1 more year's contract, it'll be very easy to part ways. I think a team will take his expiring contract next year, so I think it'll be an easy way to get off that deal. But I will say this much though, in terms of Anthony Davis, because when AD's healthy, obviously he's a top 5 player in the league. No one disputes that. No one disputes that at all. But do you now at this point consider blowing the whole thing up? I mean, whether you keep LeBron or don't keep LeBron, AD, this is who he is. I'll say it again. When he's healthy, he's a top 5 player in the league. But he's no good to you if he can't stay healthy. And I think it's his 10th year now in the league. This is who he is. This is who AD is. AD does not stay healthy. AD is always hurt. AD is going to miss at least 20 games a year. Minimum. This is who he is. Do you start to look at the tea leaves and say, hey, you know what? This guy is not going to be healthy. He's going to be hurt every time he's here. Maybe you should look into trading him away and just start fresh, start new. The problem is though, you do that with LeBron James on the roster, it's not good. LeBron's gonna want to get out of there. So, do you consider blowing the whole thing up with LeBron too, especially? I don't know. Something to think about. Lakers are a mess. They're a mess because now they got to figure out the future. Do you keep the 2 guys together, trade out Russ, and you run it back one more time with AD and LeBron? I don't know, but a lot of questions to answer in LA. A lot of questions to answer. So, all right, next one. Dear EJ, your thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia conflict? It's sad. It's just very sad. It's all sad. Watching it every day. I'm watching news reports and everything about that. As someone who doesn't really necessarily know everything about it, other than Ukraine used to be part of USSR, Soviet Union, and then obviously that got dissolved in 1991. And Ukraine has been a democracy ever since then. And now Russia wants them to return to, bring them back to another union, and obviously Ukraine says no. I don't know. It's a mess, because a lot of it too also is, do we send American boots there? And I've been very clear in my position. I support Ukraine. I support sending money and weapons there to fight off the Russians. But I'm also, as an American, very, very, I'm worn out on war. We just got to Afghanistan finally after 20 years. We just got to Afghanistan a few months ago. Do we need boots anywhere else? I think, and I saw a poll there. I think more than 2/3, 70% of the country, over 70% of the country, Republican, Democrat, all across the board, do not want American boots on the ground in that region. Not because they're not, and I think a lot of it's not because they don't care. They do care. I think it's the fact they're just fatigued on war. We've had 2 wars in Iraq in the last 30 years. We had the Afghanistan situation and other stuff we've dealt with in the last couple of decades. We're blessed we didn't have to deal with that on our own shores, thank God. But we are still, we're tired of war. We're burned out. We are all burned out. So, that's my position on it too. I don't want American boots there. They're not for NATO. So NATO can't do anything about that right now at this point. We'll see. I will say, if you believe the reports, the Ukraine has put up resistance, obviously, and what we thought Russia would get in there and just dominate, and that has not been the case. So we'll see. Hopefully, we cross our fingers, of course, that Ukraine can continue to put up a fight, and hopefully, they do their job, and hopefully, if they need help, maybe someone helps. I don't know. I don't know the particulars about how you handle that, but obviously, root for Ukraine. I know Lindsey Graham got a lot of criticism last Thursday, because he said something about someone basically it's just saying on Fox News that someone needs to assassinate Putin, and everybody got mad about that. Here's the thing, though, I can't stand Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is a piece of shit. I don't like the guy at all. But all he did really was say the quiet thing out loud, because everybody wants Putin out. Everybody, most of the people want Putin out. Okay, let's be real. Lindsey Graham just said this. Lindsey Graham, all he did is just say the thing out loud, the quiet thing out loud. So can't really say I disagree with him. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, continue praying for the Ukraine people and continue to hopefully things work out. And yeah, that's about it. So. All right, back to NBA. Dear EJ, does James Harden make the Philadelphia 76ers a serious title contender? Absolutely. Now we're running off a small sample. Was it 4 games, 5 games they played since? But they've looked great. The one loss they had recently was without Harden against the Heat, my Miami Heat. But yeah, you have to. If Harden is going to be the guy he was 2 years ago, healthy. And he looks good. He's lost some weight. You're playing with Joel Embiid now. And by the way, the difference now between Harden then in Houston and Harden now, and I won't even include the 1 year in Brooklyn, because that's just, the difference is that he's not the guy. He's part of the core, but he's not the guy. This is Embiid's team. This is Joel Embiid's team. And all things we see here seem to indicate that James Harden's okay with where he's at on that roster. I do question the bench, but are they a title contender? Absolutely. I think when you have 2 guys that can score at will the way they do, especially the playoffs, you have to consider that. Your 1-2 punch like that, and that's my concern with Miami, especially too. Not they have a very solid team, but they I love Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler has times and moments where he can lapse. Can Bam continue to be that guy night in, night out? Philadelphia has 2 guys, 2 of the top. We can argue 2 of the top 5 best scorers in the league right now on the same team. And at a moment's notice, they can go off, and that is so valuable in the playoffs. So you see it historically. So I don't know. I say yes, they are a contender. Obviously, want to see more. I people have mixed views on Harden and his playoff past, but again, the difference now is that he's no longer the guy. It's Embiid's team, so maybe that takes the pressure off of Harden. So I'm gonna say yes on that one. I'm not a Sixers fan, but I'm just being fair. So next one, dear EJ, has the nation's inflation issues affected you and your family? Oh shit, yeah, it has. Absolutely has. These gas prices are insane. The cost is insane. I got a family. I got 2 boys who eats me out of house and home. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it at the pump. I'm feeling it in my pantry. I'm feeling it in my fridge. These boys eat. They're grown boys. I eat, and yeah, I'm definitely feeling it. It sucks. We all want to blame the president for it. Whatever. Do what you want to do. You. I don't care. We all want to target. We all need to blame somebody. So I get it. I totally get it. When Trump was president, we want to blame Trump for everything bad that happened in the country. I get it. I totally get it. But we were going to be here no matter what. Inflation was coming anyway, especially with the fact that many of these businesses suffered through COVID, and the ones that survived, who lost a lot of money, are trying to make up ground. So, that's where we're at. What I would advise people is to make adjustments. Maybe start carpooling, maybe start bartering, maybe cut back on things. Adjust. You still have control over this. I'm not saying that it's an excuse or whatever, but I think if we look at ourselves, look at our situation, look at what money we spend, how much money we take in, and what we put out in costs. Maybe eat out less, maybe do this activity less. See, my issue is I'm at the age with my kids where now for example, gas kills us now, especially too, because both my boys now are doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing, and they do that 4 days a week. And it from where we live, from where the places to where we live, it's 20 minutes each way. It's not a bad drive, but it's a drive. Okay, so gas alone to do those activities, it's a handful. It takes a lot, and now you have gas to $4 and change a gallon, So that's where we're hurting there, And we got an SUV, which takes a lot of gas, so I try to take my smaller car, my 4-cylinder car, So you gotta make adjustments where you can, That's all I can tell you. If I can give that kind of encouragement, is make the adjustments necessary to make it work for you, so you can still continue to save money, continue to, not be underwater because of cost. Because it's tough. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. We're all in the same boat. Some have better financial situations than others, but again, you have to look at yourself, look at your situation, and see what could you do to make your situation better. Instead of complaining about it. There's nothing good about it. It is here. Inflation's here. Gas is high. We get that. What can you do to control that? We all make choices. So that's all I can say. So next one. I like this one. I like this question. Dear EJ, is Ja Morant your league MVP? Well, I'll say as much. He's definitely in my top three. He's done my top three. I don't have a clear-cut favorite. I mean, I guess Joel Embiid number one, but I also think the Harden trade is going to hurt him going forward. Nikola Jokic definitely in the conversation. I would still say DeMar DeRozan's in the conversation as well too. But Ja has been having a fantastic year. I saw something on Shaq today. Shaq basically said to him that he's the best player in the league right now. And while that sounds kind of like, oh my God, that's kind of fast to say that. It's kind of like, whoa, hot take. He's playing the best. He's probably playing of all the stars right now, playing the best in the league right now. He's taking a very average Memphis team to the 3 seed, maybe possibly a 2 seed now. Golden State's been struggling the last couple of weeks. I think Memphis is number 2 in the West right now. I'm checking right now as we do this recording, but I believe that they are, if not number 2, they are definitely, number 2 right now. They're number 2 in the West right now. Half a game up on the Warriors. I mean, that's value. That's value for Ja Morant. Now, I know we on the In the Paint podcast about a month ago when we just debated with Zach and Chris. Zach was saying that you can be MVP if the team is 10-1 without you. Now I know we missed 11 games this year. It's a good argument to have, but Ja's been playing great. You can't knock it. So I definitely say he's my top 3. And he could definitely, if he ends this next month before we get to the playoffs. But by the way, dude, the playoffs are not that far away. What about a month and a week away from the playoffs? And it's setting up to be a very good playoff, especially in the Eastern Conference. But if we can end this, on a good note, he can very well take this from Embiid and Jokic. So, all right, next question here in the mailbag, on the fake mailbag rather. Dear EJ, are you looking forward to WrestleMania this year? Well, yeah, yeah, I am. I mean, this will be the first full WrestleMania full crowd. Like last year we had a crowd, but it was what? It was like 50% capacity or something like that. Year before that we had the one fan on top in the PC. So this is the first WrestleMania I'll be able to watch in years live with a full crowd. I know my co-hosts on the Tate Wrestling Podcast, Mike and Joe, are going to be in Dallas seeing it. I won't be going, unfortunately. Sad for me, but I can't do it. I got other things going on. But the build right now is pretty decent. It's not bad. It's gonna be a solid WrestleMania. Brock against Roman. It's been the best feud right now with the company right now. Other things going on. You have the Bianca against Becky and things of that nature. So it's gonna be a solid WrestleMania. I'm not like over. Maybe my expectations are a little lower now this year because of everything that's gone on. I haven't watched much wrestling in the last couple of months. Honestly, I've only watched pay-per-views and maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Dynamite. I have a hard time keeping up with wrestling these days in terms of like the week to week. So, other than the pay-per-views, like I said, Royal Rumble and Revolution and Day 1 on January, it's been a hard time keeping up with everything. But yeah, I guess when I get closer to it, you still got a couple weeks before WrestleMania. So I think once you get to the last week or two, once you preview it on the podcast and stuff, especially, I think I'll get more excited about it. So yeah, I'll say I have tempered excitement about being this year. So all right, next question. Here's a personal one here on the mailbag. Dear EJ, you mentioned on the last fake mailbag real answers, you and your wife didn't want any more children. Can you elaborate more on the why? Okay, so here's one reason why. I'm turning 42 in 2 months, less than 2 months. That's one reason. Number 2, kids are also expensive. Another reason. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I miss my freedom. I miss having the ability to go out and do whatever I want, and go out on nights with my wife and date nights and do this and whatever, and it's hard to do that when you have young kids. We sacrificed these last 9 years of parenting, because it's what we wanted, and for the record, I can operate under that. But I'm getting to the point now where I miss traveling. I miss going out. I miss doing this. I miss being able to, on moment's notice, and I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of, while as parts of I do miss the taller face, I know my kids are turning 9 and 5 this next month. I do miss, some parts of the baby aspect of it. I also am looking forward to them getting older, to where we could do things together as a family. Be able to take my son, oldest son especially, to WrestleManias and other events, and hopefully gets sports gets older and we can do different games and stuff. Same with my youngest son too, but if he gets to it as well. So, and kids are expensive, they're pricey, and we just discussed it. Inflation's going on right now. I don't know how kids do it. People do it with 3 kids. I have my cousins had twins, and now he has a 3rd kid, and I got friends of mine, coworkers of mine that have now 3 or 4 kids. I don't know how they do it. God bless them. I don't know how my mom did it. I just know that we just know. Like, I know my wife. This is the cool thing about my wife and I. This is how we know we're good for each other. Is that we know we're on the same page. Like, I can argue that if there were odds of who will want kids, a 3rd kid, the odds of it would be me wanting it more than her. Normally, in a situation, it would be the female. No. She's been around babies too. Her best friends have all had babies recently, and she has not got baby fever at all. Not at all. Which she knows. I mean, she is checked out. I've said this before in this podcast probably a few times in the last couple of years. There were points where we were considering having a 3rd kid because we wanted a girl, we wanted a daughter. But honestly, our desire to not have more kids is stronger than our desire to have another child, a daughter. It really is. So we're happy we're at now. 2 kids enough. We're good. These 2 kids, take us. They take all our time. So and it's good enough for us. And we're blessed to have the 2 we have, and we appreciate our 2 sons, and they're wonderful. They're tough. They're stressful at times, but they are fantastic kids. At the end of the day. So I'm happy we're at. So, and we know what we want. So, all right, next one. About 2 or 3 more of these left. give us 10 artists. There, EJ, give us 10 artists, music artists that know you by. This is going to be fun. And I feel like 10 is not good enough because I have one of the most diverse musical palettes out there. So you guys know my big three. My big three in order. Michael Jackson, Metallica, Queen. My big three in order. In order. Okay? Then you got Prince. You got Janet, of course. You got Whitney Houston. Stevie Wonder, of course. Busta Rhymes. Fear Factory in metal. Seven Dust. Megadeth. I'm going to give more than 10. Fuck 10. Fuck the 7 10. You have Biggie Smalls. Tupac's pretty good. The Roots. Let me see what else. Madonna. Love Madonna. Actually, a very big guilty pleasure of mine. But there's a lot of Steve Winwood lately. His Back in High Life album is actually one of my favorite 10, 15 best albums, favorite albums of all time. So yeah, those artists are what I'm listening to these days. I love metal, of course. I love Lamb of God and Thursday's Crazy Fist and Soilwork and bands of that nature. Avenged Sevenfold, those bands. I can mention like 10 more, but I don't need to. So next one, I think so this is probably the last one here. I think. You mentioned on recent podcast episodes that you're falling behind on wrestling content. Why? Well, that's simple. Life. And I also added some newer podcasts on this quote unquote network here. You guys know if you follow this feed. Since September, October, I started doing Football's Awesome every week. That's about 3 segments loaded to one episode. Then I started adding more stuff as recently, more concepts, In the Paint, a weekly NBA basketball podcast or bi-weekly podcast. I'm going to be adding more concepts in the coming weeks, which I'll be announcing. So that made it hard, between September, between the fall and winter, especially too with content, it's harder because football's here. I love college football. I love NFL. Baseball is wrapping up. Baseball playoffs. I'm into it as well. Then the NBA starts in October. Okay, and then you get in January, February. Things wrap. I don't get full more time to watching any of my content until February. I've discussed before that ain't those wrestling content that suffers. It's regular stuff I watch. TV shows and movies and all that. And the thing about wrestling too, and I think people forget, is that unlike football, basketball, unlike the NBA and the NFL and all that, wrestling does not stop. There is no pause. Okay? It continues. It's every single week. So, I've got to the point now where I said earlier that, I've missed, up until like last week, I missed the last 7 weeks of the AEW Dynamite. And that's the one show where I've always consistently watched for 3 years. I can't remember last time I watched Raw. Honestly. I think I watched WWE Raw since probably December. Maybe before that. Or SmackDown since then. What's kept me at bay what's kept me really into it still is the pay-per-views. And WWE does the best with that. Of keeping the loop. Like if you can't watch the entire show, you go on social media, you go on the YouTube page, you go on Instagram. Their product placement is the best in this industry. AEW is not as good. It's not bad, but it's not as good as WWE. And I think a lot of it too also because they want you to watch the product. We did the topic on this actually on Take 3 2 weeks ago. Because because unlike with WWE where USA Network actually needs WWE more the other way around, AEW needs TNT. AEW needs exposure. They're a newer company. So they need the viewers. They need the viewership. They need the numbers. So they don't put up as much stuff out on social media in the same way WWE does because they want you to watch the show. They want you to watch their show. So it's, I get it. I completely get it. But it's tough. It's tough. And I think also too, and it's something I think our good friend of the pod, Big James Neese, has put it towards me, and it makes sense. It's what he said he does too. Also, if he misses a Raw or SmackDown, any wrestling show, and it's more than 24 hours, it's gone. It's in the ether. He forgets about it. It's gone. And I've kind of sort of adopted that now too. Mine might be a little more flexible. I might give it 24 to 48 hours. I think I'm a little more flexible with AEW's because AEW is more. It's a It's only one show, you know. I mean, they have Rampage, but come on, I don't think we're Rampage in about 2 months either. So, yeah, that's why I haven't I have a hard time keeping up with the content. It's just tough, you know. And you also have my priorities too. I also have other interests too. You know, I got 2 kids and a wife, and I have other interests, and I love podcasting and do podcasts, and I have other shows to watch. So I got a lot going on, you know. So that's why, you know, I got a lot going on. So anyway, that'll do it. I think that's it for this episode of Fake Mailbag, Real Answers. Get at me on Twitter at EJChristian7. Oh, you know what? This wasn't a part of the mailbag, but I'll answer it anyway. You know, Aaron Rodgers today signed his deal. Well, he's going to sign his deal. 4 years, $50 billion, 4 years, $200 million contract. So someone was talking to me about, was this the right move for the Packers to do this? Yes, it was the right move for the Packers to do this. Do you know why? Because Jordan Love is not good enough. Okay, you know. Oh, well, Aaron Rodgers is overrated. Yeah. Okay, overrated doesn't mean bad though. Okay, first off, let's start there. Okay, and you know, I know a couple people saying, well, take a chance, pick a quarterback in a draft. They did 2 years ago. Jordan Love, he's not good enough. You know, so you can't just nilly-dilly just risk that. You know, you have a guy that's a proven commodity. He's still good enough. He's a back-to-back MVP. You know, yes, there's baggage there. I totally get that. Is he overrated a little bit? Maybe he's a little overrated now because of you know, of the value. You know, not bringing back championships and going to the Super Bowl in 12 years or 10 years. But he's still top 3 quarterback in the league. And that, again, just like with the Seahawks, that does not grow on trees. We need to start acting like these things that, okay, well, just get a quarterback. Dude, we have teams. Okay, the Miami Dolphins, for example, we're now on year 24 post Dan Marino. They are still looking for a quarterback. Like, stop. This is not. I mean, we just act like just draft the guy and, you know, fall into place, and it doesn't work that way. Especially when you have a quarterback that's still really good. It's not like Big Ben Roethlisberger, who's on his final legs. Rodgers is still fantastic. So let's slow down. Let's slow down, okay? Packers do the right thing, okay? You know, it's a lot of money because that's the marketplace. You talk about inflation, right? You talk about inflation, it cost. Well, quarterback cost went up now this year. Same thing. So that's my 2 cents on that. So I'm out of here. Again, like I said on Twitter, EJChristian7, Earnest Speaking podcast across all podcast platforms. Earnest Speaking Media, especially on YouTube. Yeah. That's about it, I guess, for next podcast we'll do. Until then, love you guys, talk to you, and see ya.